Welcome back to Tough Men of Faith.
Welcome back.
How are you, RT?
I'm doing great. And you?
Good. You ready for part 2 of this?
You know I am. It was pretty fun to think through those things.
Yeah. 19 things we wish we would have known after high school.
10.
10-ish.
10-ish.
Didn't you just add a couple of lists?
No, we had 5 last week.
Okay.
We have 5 this week.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
We could probably add 19 more.
I bet we could.
I
did be easy.
Yeah.
But let's work on this, what we got now.
Yeah, let's work on the next 5.
All right. Learn to handle finances and avoiding debt.
This is a big one.
Yeah, I'm stepping on my own toes here.
Proverbs 21:20, a wise man saves for the future. I was not wise at 18.
I was not either.
Or at 20.
Yeah, or
3,
in my 20s.
Yeah, I think some of the problem with this is we don't talk about finances much.
Man.
When you're teenagers, like if your parents don't, who's teaching you about finances?
And you didn't learn much about it in school.
No.
There was no balancing a checkbook, how to do your taxes, saving for retirement. There was no, even and I loved economics class.
Yeah.
One of my favorite classes in high school. Didn't talk about any of the actual real world stuff. It was just more of, this is the crap I got to teach you that's in the book.
Yeah.
And I wish there would be, and I wish even kids today would have some real world, training, how to balance a checkbook, how to save, how to budget your life, how not to live above your means would be a huge one.
Well, because it's so easy in our culture to get in debt. Of course, Scripture says the borrower is slave to the lender.
Right.
I didn't know that verse even existed when I was 18.
Right.
And I wouldn't have known what it meant. But then I show up at college, and they have a big tent set up, and they're like, hey, you want a free T-shirt? I'm like, yeah, I want a free T-shirt with my college name on it.
Yeah, here,
sign up right here for this credit card. Then I get a credit card, and I have $2,000 to spend.
Right.
I spend the $2,000 because
Yeah.
I need to buy some books.
Right.
So I go buy the books.
Yeah.
I spend $2,000. I have a 20-some% interest rate on it.
Yeah, now you got a $200 a month payment. And
Can't make the payment.
You're trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
With your no job and, trying to go to school full time.
Then you know what happened? I was standing in line at the bank one day, waiting to cash a check.
Yeah.
And there's a long line, and one of the people from the offices, how they have offices?
Yeah.
Comes over, is like, hey, you don't need to wait in line. Come on over here. I'll go ahead and take care of you over here. So I'm sitting in this guy's office, and he's like, hey, what do you need? It's like, I was going to cash this check. And he's like, hey, do you have you ever thought about opening up a credit card here at the bank? I was like, no, I have one I got from my college. He's like, yeah, we can take care of that. So they give me a credit card with $3,500 limit on it. Like, you can pay that credit card off with that, and then still have $1,500 more to spend. You know what I did?
You did it, didn't you?
I got the credit card.
Did you?
Did I pay the other one off? Nope. I just spent $3,500 on that credit card. So now I'm $5,500 in debt.
Oh, good night.
Going to college.
Okay.
It just snowballs from there.
Mine was a little different. I bought a house at 19.
Yeah, that could be a good move.
It could have been a good move, yeah. I got behind on mortgage payments.
Yeah.
Which is sketchy because they start calling you.
They want their money.
They want their money, and
they're going to break your
calling
kneecap.
you. Yeah, and no, they don't. They want to know if you got anything you can sell to pay them. Of course I don't because I'm 19, and I'm in a house that's 3 weeks of my income, but some bank guy out there approved it, so should be fine.
Nope.
Man, it's it goes to not living on a budget.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know how to live on a budget, and my dad's trying to beat that in my head for years. I'm like, dude, I'm not listening to you. You're out of touch, dude. You're old. Go away. And I remember the one time I got behind on some bills and went to him and asked him to bail me out, and he's like, nope, I bailed you out 2 or 3 times, and this time you're gonna figure it out on your own, and I sure did. So
I think you need to take financial peace class.
Yeah, you got to do something
or something. Get around some people who know how to have a budget.
Yeah, talk to some people that screwed up before and figured out how to make it work and do it the right way. But I've always had a savings account since then, and I've always put up money for a rainy day, and stay ahead of on my bills. For a couple of months. I just. I will never go back to where I was then.
Yeah, I think the big thing with money is we're so private with it, which I understand in some degree. But you need to find some people you can open up to, here's what I'm making. Yeah. Here's my bills.
Yeah, we did this with a friend of mine a couple nights ago. It's just, hey, man, he's like, man, I just need some help. I'm just in a tough spot. And it's like, man, you don't need any help. You just need to, live a little different. You're not too far off course. You just got to pump the brakes a little bit and, change it up just a little. And,
it's a learned behavior. It's one of those things don't be embarrassed. Learn how to do it.
And society makes it tough because we see all these people out there and we don't know their finances. We don't know what they're dealing with in life, but they got the newest, shiniest, coolest stuff.
Yep.
And we want stuff too. We're guys. I want all the stuff. Thank God I have a wife that reels me in because, I could have bought a Harley last week or, I could have done this.
Man, you should have bought the Harley. You should have called me instead of your wife.
I should have. Problem is, you got the fast sport bike.
Yeah,
You be
that's
doing
true.
circles around me and pulling wheelies and stuff, and it'd be tough if I'm on a slow
Yeah.
Harley. Anyway,
My kids a couple weeks ago went to a car show, not a car, like an auto show,
okay.
like where they had the new vehicles.
Oh yeah,
And so they were seeing the prices of some new ones. My one daughter wants a truck, and she's like, "Dad, I want to get a truck like yours."
yeah,
And then she sees the sticker, which mine's half that because it's not the loaded one, right? So at first I was like, "Well, I
yeah.
got the bare minimum." And she goes, "Yeah, but I'm gonna buy one of these in a couple of years." I said, "Well, it took me 22 years
Right.
of driving junky cars around and breaking down and saving up to where I could do this."
Yeah, that's kind of my thing too. Is like I always wanted to have my dad actually he bought me a nice used vehicle one time.
Yeah.
It was a Grand Cherokee, like a Jeep Grand Cherokee, and I loved this thing.
Yeah.
Like this thing was phenomenal. Great sound system, and the seats all laid down. Like if you needed to stay the night in it or whatever, you could. Like this thing was leather. I mean,
Yeah.
it was great. And when I had that thing, and then it's like now I'm an adult. There's no way I'm ever buying a new vehicle.
Right.
I bought one new vehicle for work, and how do you justify $30,000, $40,000, $50,000? And like then, I had no concept of what
Yeah.
that was. Now it's a small mortgage payment.
Yeah.
For the next 7 to 8 years.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. It's no longer, a lot of people aren't putting them on 3 or 5 years. It's
Yeah.
7.
yeah,
or 8.
exactly.
But
So,
I think some of the issue comes down to a lot of times at 18, we want what our parents have or our grandparents have in the next couple of years, but it took them a lifetime
right. Yeah, it took them a
of
lifetime
investing wisely, saving money,
of right
uh,
being disciplined.
being very disciplined in their
Yeah.
finances, learning how to handle it. And so over, 30 years, they accumulated some things. And we think, well, I want that right now. Right. So,
Yeah, of course we do.
yeah. So learn how to handle it.
All
All right. You ready?
Yeah, let's move on.
All right. Next one. You'll find out if your faith is real.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. You sure
well,
will.
here's what I was thinking on that one.
All right, what you got?
Well, I mean, of course, I've been around the church a long time.
Yeah.
And so I see young guys.
I think
who,
that's cool though. Like with with us, is like you've been around the church for a long time. I've been around the church a shorter amount of
Yeah.
time. But it's crazy how we meet in the middle on most things, or we see eye to eye on,
Yeah.
most everything.
Right. So, like, when you started coming to church, no one was making you come to church. I mean, your wife.
Oh yeah, no, my wife was beating me over the head.
Okay.
to come.
Well, yeah, your wife was
yeah.
beating you over the head, but you
So-
didn't have a parent who's like, "Hey, you don't have a choice about it. You're going
Yeah,
to church."
right.
I grew up where I didn't have a choice about it.
Yeah.
I was going to church every week.
Well, your
Like,
dad was a preacher too,
he was
right?
a pastor,
Yeah,
right?
pastor.
I mean,
yeah.
he didn't drag. I wanted to be there, but
Yeah.
at 18 or whenever you get out of the house, at some point, you're going to find out if that faith was your parents' faith or
Oh,
if
yeah.
it was your faith.
Yeah, for sure.
Because there's so many teenagers, right, that they come because their parents make them, and then as soon as they don't have to,
Yep, they
they're
don't
no
go.
longer there, right?
Yep.
So you begin to find out, I think, like, is this faith real? And it caused you, at least me, when I turned about 19, I really had to start diving in, just like you at mid-30s, whenever it was. You had to dive in and make this decision, like, hey,
Right.
yeah, I really believe in this. I'm going to live this way.
Yep.
Even if you grew up in church, I think that the time comes at some point when you get out of the house where you also have to question things
For
and
sure.
see if this faith is
Yeah,
is
me and
real.
my wife just had a conversation about this the other night. It's like she's like, you ever find it funny, like people that used to, take jabs and stuff at you for going to church, they don't now because you've stuck with it for, however many years, and you've changed, and you started living a different way, and they
Yeah.
see that change in you. And she's like, they don't take jabs at you anymore. It's not like something to take jabs at. It's like, this is Nick, and this is the lifestyle that he's
Yeah.
choosing. And, while he's changed, he hasn't changed for the worse.
Yeah.
He's changed for the better, and there's been good changes. But she said, I just find it interesting that, she said that you thought you would maybe lose friends
Yeah.
by living this lifestyle and by going to church and following Jesus. And she said, and the people that you did lose in your life, she's like, do you miss them? I don't. The ones that I was worried about losing, didn't lose them anyway.
Yeah.
And that's been a really positive thing. And I think a lot of people are afraid to commit because they're worried about what other people think.
Yeah. Yeah, especially young people.
Yeah,
right?
especially young people.
But
And,
I think with your life, I mean, I was just thinking about it that, there's times when people hit a crisis and they'll go to church.
yeah,
Hey, God, I just want you to take this problem away.
Yeah.
And then
And then
you
we're
know, I'm
done after
Like,
that.
I don't really, my faith's not real. I thought I'd just show up for church.
yeah.
But your dad passed away unexpectedly pretty soon after you started coming.
Yeah, well, we were attending churches, for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And then, but yeah, as soon as we started going to the church we go to now, my dad had passed away, 4 or 5 months after that.
Which
And,
the fact that you stuck with church and you kept going
Yeah.
deeper in your faith during a time when it was a very trying time
Yeah.
for you, a time when you could have questioned and left, like that was,
yeah,
that sticks out.
Right,
during
yeah,
that
for
time,
sure.
That your faith
and I
is
think
real.
other people see that. I think,
They do.
friends see that and other people see that. And like, okay, maybe he's on to something here.
Yeah. I feel like that's when you usually find out, especially if early on, right? Is
Oh
this
yeah.
your parents make you come, or
Yeah,
I'm gonna be
or
there
it's
tomorrow?
just something that you want and something that you want to do.
Yeah.
Yep.
The next one I had is a little bit different. It's don't think every battle is your battle.
Yeah.
I was just thinking
Just go back to
about
the social media thing.
it could. I was
Okay.
thinking about like Nehemiah,
Yeah.
that God told him to build the wall. What are you laughing at?
Man, I was just going through
Were
Nehemiah.
you?
I just read like the first 5 or 6 chapters of it
Yeah.
today. So yeah, but Nehemiah was a cupbearer
He
for
was
the
a
king,
cupbearer.
and he told the king he wanted to go and yeah, he said he wanted to go and help fortify the wall and rebuild, and he needed all these letters to get through these different cities
Yeah.
so he could get to where he was going. And anyway, go ahead. What were you saying?
Well, no, I was just saying like God called Nehemiah to that job. Like I
Right.
think God calls us to specific things sometimes.
When I
So
think about Nehemiah, and it's funny if you haven't read it or listened to it, you should. But they talk about how they're laying bricks with one hand and holding
yeah,
a sword in the other.
yep,
And just putting that visual together, and
yeah.
just
I
it's good
heard.
for me.
I can't remember who. Someone said a preacher said something a few years back. I heard like not everything from heaven has your name on it. So I guess where I was going with this, there's a lot of good things, but you could find yourself like trying to do so many good things
Yeah.
that you're not really making an impact.
Right.
So there's a lot of justice issues, a lot of things that you could stand up for, a lot of areas to use your time. But I think you really got to like, what is it God's calling me to? What's the battle He's calling me to?
Yeah.
And go to fight there.
Yeah, I know. I totally agree. And I think as we grow up, we do this more and more, but we don't tell enough people no.
Yeah.
And we
That's
jump into things that, great, we have a passion for helping people or doing something, and we jump into it, but we don't necessarily, I think I was saying we don't tell enough people no, but we don't necessarily need to jump into everything. We need to focus on a few things
Yeah.
so that we can really drive home. We don't need to focus on a broad, array of things. And I've always said this too, like if you focus on 2 or 3 things, you'll probably really succeed at those 2 or 3 things.
Mm-hmm.
But if you focus on 50 things, you'll never succeed at a single one of them.
Yeah.
You'll kind of always halfway do them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I think early on it's a good time to figure that out.
yeah, for sure.
The next one's find some good friends, but know they may change over time.
Yeah. Well, I think I was just talking about that too a few minutes ago. Like,
Yeah.
as you grow and as you mature, some friends won't.
Yeah.
And they might be good friends now for you in this season of life, but seasons of life change all the time.
Yeah. We've talked about the importance of good friends,
Yeah.
looking at different proverbs and things. So finding them, but yeah, some of them change because, you mature, like you were saying, you grow and
Yeah.
they just move on in a different direction.
Right.
And some of it, what I've struggled through is like, there are friends that God's used in different seasons where we've served together.
Yeah, that's right.
And then all of a sudden, like we're moving in different directions now.
Yeah.
Neither one's wrong, right? God's
Right.
just like one of them's physically moved other places. And,
Well, and it's kind of funny too. Like you were talking about like post high school or post college, and
Yeah.
people move in different directions, and things that are morally acceptable to some aren't morally acceptable to others, and that's not necessarily a problem. I mean, it can be a problem,
Yeah.
problematic, but it's not necessarily a problem. But people do move on, and
Yeah.
people go different directions, and it's a very normal thing. That the people that you're friends with today might not be your friends in 10 years.
Yep. Last one.
What you got?
Well, the last one on our list that
Yeah.
our listeners are going to add more.
Yeah.
You don't need to know what you're going to do with your life today.
Right.
Like how many times have people, and I see it now with my daughter who's getting ready to graduate in a
Yeah.
couple months, like, what are you going to do with your life? And
Yeah.
she has a plan, but
Yeah.
in her
I've,
mind,
I've heard
she's,
4 plans in the last 2 years, so it's
it's
you
like
know,
she's 18.
Yeah.
She-
yeah. So yeah, who knows?
yeah.
But on the other hand, with that, I think it's cool that you and her mom are pushing her to make a decision.
Yeah.
Because she's getting ready to go to school for 4 or 6 or 8 years or
Yep.
whatever she's going to do, and you guys are kind of helping shape her and pushing her into that direction. And look, there's going to be a point of no return here where you're not going to be able to really deviate from this
Yeah.
plan, and that's coming up sooner than later. And while your employment plan might not change, it's okay for your other plans in life to change.
Yeah. Yeah. Just don't let the anxiety take over because you don't know
Right.
exactly what you're going to do 10 years from now.
Well, that just actually makes up another good point right there. Is don't make decisions too fast,
Yeah.
and don't let anxiety make you make decisions. Wait until you're cool and calm headed and collected to make make important decisions in life.
Get some people to help you.
Yeah, for sure.
Anything else you want to add to these 5?
No, I'm sure if I sat around and thought about it for a couple of days, I could add a list of 50 more things. But
We'll come back to it in 2024 next year,
Yeah.
graduation time. 10 more things.
Yeah, 10 more things we wish we would have said.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's pretty good.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, and make sure you share it on social media.
Yeah. And T-shirt should be in later this week, so that's great.
Perfect.
Awesome. We'll see you next time.